Hi, this is Zinny Zan from Zan Cody, and you're listening to Talking About Rock.
All right, today's guests are two of the founding architects of Swedish sleaze hard rock. The original front duo of the cult legends Shotgun Messiah are back together under the banner Zan Cody. Since they reunited, the result can only be called explosive. Zinny Zan and Harry Cody have delivered a brand new album, Beautiful and Damned, out on July 24th via Frontiers Music. Now let's say hello to Zinny Zan, Harry Cody. Guys, how are you?
Good.
I'm fine, Robert. How are you?
Great, great. Thank you both for being here. Really appreciate it. So I don't know who wants to start. Maybe tell us about putting this project together here, getting back together on this. Really unique. I like it.
Why don't you start, Zinny?
All right. Well, and again, me and Harry have been back and forth for a couple of years, saying, hi, how you doing? Congrats, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, stuff like that. And I was reaching out to Harry and said that, would you consider to do a little guitar thing here and there? And he said, absolutely. If I like the stuff, I would. And that made me think a little bit more about it, because I was having my band Zinny Zan, like a solo artist. And I thought, like, if I would ever have Harry, I would not ask him to do things on my solo thing. And I thought, like, we should go in as equals. So I asked Harry about it, what he thought about it. And Harry said, well, let's throw a couple of songs back and forth and see where we are and see if we have that spark still and, where we're going with it. And we did. And here we are.
Yeah. So, Harry, where were you at that point when he reached out and said, hey, I'm thinking about putting together a thing, you and I thing together here, like a duo thing. What were your thoughts on that when he brought that up?
Well, I hadn't given it any thought for a number of years, but it just seemed kind of logical. I always liked his voice, and he has a great sense of hooks and stuff. He comes up with good stuff. So it was like, yeah, let's explore this. Let's see where it takes us. And, like Zinny said, we just kind of felt it out with a few songs back and forth, and they turned out above expectations. So we just kept sending songs back and forth, and before you knew it, we had an album's worth.
Yeah, definitely. So I really like the latest track here, Sever. Zinny, you want to tell us, is there a backstory on this? It's kind of been described as a battle cry.
Well, it is a battle cry, but since the original architect for that song is Mr. Cody, so Cody, you pop off.
Okay, I first wrote an early version of this song for my very first post-Shotgun demo in like 96 or 97. So if anyone thinks that the lyrics relate to something today, that's more coincidental than anything. This was about the world as it looked then, and it's still relevant. So I can see why people would see and make those connections. But yeah, it's an up-tempo song about paranoia, about someone who is fed up with what his world is becoming, and he wants to do something drastic about it.
Yeah, definitely a very, very heavy track. I really digging it. And you guys got Chris Laney on here mixing this album for you, which I thought did a fabulous job on. He's worked with Pretty Maids, Crazy Licks, but I thought he really captured, the sound for you guys really great on this.
He did a good job with us, absolutely.
Yeah, and the other track that was just kind of the standout you guys have out was Damned also. I don't know if Zinny, you want to take that one, or Harry, that's more for you.
No, it was a song that I had at home, and I liked it quite a lot. And that is more up to the date where we are in the world and so on and so forth. And things you think, and And I had that one, and I asked Harry. He said, "Toss around a little with it, and then bring some Cody into this," and he did, and there it was.
Yeah, very, very, very cool. Yeah,
Good up tempo song with a catchy chorus.
definitely, definitely.
Very strong hook. I like that one. Thanks,
Yeah.
Zinny.
Yeah, that's what got me going on that. That's the first track I listened to. They just sent me the rest of the album, so I'll be digging into it a little bit more. I really didn't get time and stuff to listen to a couple of the tracks, but yeah, I'm really, really liking that for sure. So when you did the tracks, I assumed you didn't have a whole band outfit put together at that point. It was just between the two of you, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was between the two of us.
Yeah, is that something you're looking at now,
me and Harry.
maybe to put together a unit to do some of this, or what's the thinking?
Well, I would say
We have a band now with the guys who played on the album. First, I programmed drums and I added some rudimentary bass. Then we brought in the big guns to enhance the track. So we got Bjorn Höglund on drums, who's an amazing basher, and Nalle Paulson on bass, who's just chef's kiss, fantastic. So
Right.
they're in on this with us, and I look forward to working with them in the future, of course.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about sleaze rock history. I want to get a little bit of take on both of you from this. So Shotgun Messiah, self-titled debut, comes out in '89. It's probably remains, a cornerstone of glam and sleaze metal. Really shaped the sound of that generation at that time. And it also holds a very influential spot in Scandinavian hard rock. Zinny, when this came out, like we were saying a little bit earlier, the world was very different back then. How do you think that compares now to what's going on and how your writing is now compared to then?
well, as you say, the album First Kingpin that later became Shotgun Messiah album, that was something else, absolutely, and it was definitely standing out when we released it. And the same thing when Tim and Harry first approached me to be the singer for the band, because they were looking for a frontman and a singer. I was knocked off my rocker. I thought that this is absolutely something else, and it really was. And I think that's why we got so much attention, because it was nothing that people have really heard before. I still say that the song stand the test of time. They still sound cool when you play them. We recently played them live at Sweden Rock Festival, and of course, gems like that for people that love Shotgun Messiah, our old supporters, they love it. We thought it was a blast playing them again, and they still feel really good. And that's about it, really.
Yeah. So Harry, this came out in '89. Do you think that was kind of a short window, because that was right before grunge hit, so that was where your guys were kind of on the end of what was going on, right, in hard rock and what do you want to call it, sleaze rock or metal or whatever you want to call it. That style and that type was at the tail end. Do you kind of think you got maybe shortchanged since it was a little bit later coming out?
Well, sure. We've been struggling for years to get here to Southern California, because we were stuck on the other side of the planet in a country that wasn't that welcoming to that type of music. There wasn't really a scene for that. So, yeah, I think that you can hear that throughout the album. There's four guys who are just struggling to be seen and heard. There's this underdog mentality and
right. It's very cutthroat in LA, right?
Yeah,
very much so. To get into the clubs, which turned into pay to play, and then like a lot of those clubs are gone now. But yeah, I mean, when I remember going out there a couple times, and the streets were just littered with flyers, littered with bands.
Oh, yeah.
It was a different band every other day, almost back then. I mean, people think it's crazy now, but it was boots on the ground crazy back then.
Absolutely.
Zinny, what's your remembrance about that time being out there, getting out there when starting this up out there? Can you kind of wind the clock back a little bit for us and tell us what you saw when you got out there?
Well, coming out to LA, where we ended up in Hollywood, that was like a dream come true. To be honest, I was in a band before Shaka Messiah called Easy Action, and we were in early on, like from '83, and we tried hard and never made it over there. We got signed with major labels, this and that, so on and so forth. But we were stuck playing in Scandinavia and some in Europe, but never the US. And with this band, when we spoke, when asked Tim and Harry about their strategy for the thing, and they absolutely want to go to the US, and I was absolutely on that one. And they said, okay, this is what we aim for, and you have to aim high, and we did, and we got over there, and that was, of course, when you go, the four of us, and all of a sudden we're there in Hollywood, we're situated there in a house, we got ourselves signed, we had the record deal. And there you have it, Sunset Strip and everything. And
Right.
of course, it was absolutely fantastic. It was like letting kids in a candy store kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember those days very well. Well, although they're very, very long gone. So another question I want to get this take on both of you here. We'll start with you, Zinny. Obviously, the big thing that's going on now is the rise of AI, how it's incorporated into so many different portions of our life, especially in music, right? In writing and in art. And we're seeing even apps out there where the average person can just, speak a sentence into an app and it writes a supposed song for them. What's your thoughts around that topic?
What do you say, Zin?
Well, it's of course it's amazing. The technology is always amazing when it comes, and sometimes you fight it and you hate it, and then later after a couple of years you adjust to it, whatever. But again, when I see what I see now, of course nothing can change out a musician and the true thing from the heart and what you play and so on and so forth. It is manufactured, so it's not, to me, it's not really there. But then again, I'm an old fart, but that's my thought of it. It's nothing that I think of, to be honest, because I'm not there. I'm not playing with it. I'm not touching it in that sentence. In other words, in other ways, AI can be a fantastic tool, of course, but for music, not for an old fart like me, no.
Yeah. It's definitely strange how it's starting to get more and more incorporated. Like I was saying, iTunes is going to start marking any music that is artificially created. They were saying a while back. So at least we're going to start seeing that come out. And I've seen artists where they've had songs appear under their profiles on streaming services that were not created by them. So Harry, what's your thoughts around this as a songwriter, as a musician? Kind of a scary thing.
It is a very scary thing, and I won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Like, nothing I do has any, even a sliver of AI involved in it, and creating sounds or what have you. Everything I do, I make myself. And I'd love to see what someone younger does with it, though, because that's really the frontier.
Right, because they're accepting all this technology like it's nothing to them, right? Exactly.
And there are some legitimately good uses for it, like in medicine, for instance. AI is really valuable, but I think in creative arts, it's the opposite of creative. It steals things that have already been made, makes a mishmash of it, and analyzes it and puts it forth as if it were a new thing. And I think that's scary.
Yeah.
Well put, because it has nothing with creativity when it comes to music and art in any way.
Yep, that's pretty much been the feedback I've gotten. I've asked this question to a lot of my guests just to kind of get their take on it, and it really kind of boils down to, there's no emotional connection to the music. That's what music is about, making that emotional connection to the listener. Absolutely. When the artist sees that from the listener, that energy comes back to them. Showing they're excited, they're happy, they enjoy what the artist created. So that's kind of the exchange right there. You will not get that artificially. Yep. So Zinny, what's the plan next? What are next steps? You got videos coming up. You got shows you're planning. What's going on next for you guys?
Yeah, right now, like we said, we we did the first gig with San Cody, and then we did Sweden Rock Festival. So we presented the almost the entire album for the crowd, which we thought was could be a nice treat. And of course, we had some gems from the first Shotgun Messiah album there as well in the show. And we released Sever, the second single, and a video to it. Right now, next thing is to edit and do a new video and single for when the album arrives, July 24th. So that will be a third single and a third video. That's the next thing we're doing. Apart, of course, from interviews and stuff like that. And we're also looking into touring. So we have shows that we will come out with pretty soon. I think one is already released, and that's in Stockholm, the capital of Sweden. So he's playing at the Debaser, and that's in October. So October we'll have dates, and for what I see right now, it's from the biggest cities around Sweden, first of all.
Right.
And that will, of course, snowball. And we do have questions from the US as well. But as you know, it's extremely hard as a musician to go over to the US these days. A working visa is a visa it's about $6,000, sometimes even more per head. And then just to think that Cody is the only one in the US and we have 3 more have to come. So there has to be a number of shows and well-paid ones in order to go. Both me and Harry we would love to tour US and Canada and so on and so forth. But it's a lot of work, coming around and getting around the financial thing. And that's what we're looking at right now. But the European shows and so on, they are rolling in, which is good. And so we will put Harry on a plane over here to Europe and do plenty of shows and then back again. And then, of course, still work on the US market and see how we can come around with a financial thing. Plus, we're looking also for a booking agent in the US as well, because we only have one right now for the market here in Europe.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know that's a challenge to a lot of folks that are outside the US. Some of the artists I've spoken to, sometimes they tap some artists, that are US based, just to do those shows, make it a little bit easier, travel wise, financial wise, sometimes like that. I've even seen, bands that are US based, and when they play East Coast, they'll have a set of musicians on the East Coast, and they'll have a set of musicians on the West Coast, things like that. To get shows done, just to make it easier for those fly-in dates and things like that. So when folks want to check out your dates, what's your site and what's your social so folks can follow you guys?
For the time being, it is on Facebook, San Cody, and on Instagram, San Cody as well. There will be things that we're working with Frontiers, who's our record company. They will put up things as well. Same with the merchandise. Right now, the merchandise is on Frontiers. We will have it up on our site as well. So Instagram and Facebook for San Cody, and also then from Frontiers, if you want to see where the show's going to be, and also if you want to buy merchandise or pre-order the album, that's where you go.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully, with Frontiers, you guys should be able to get on some of their festivals, things like that. Monsters of Rock is always looking, I know. Monsters on the Mountain is always looking, I know. So I know it's a little late in the time frame now for that for you guys, but maybe the next cycle. So yeah, definitely very cool. All right, folks out there can check out the new track Sever, and also can check out the link for Damn in our Hall video at talkingaboutrock.com. And like Zinny was saying, you can pre-order Beautiful and Damned on their website, and it's going to be out on July 24th from Frontiers. All right. So that wraps up this episode. Thanks to my guests, Zinny Zan and Harry Cody, and to our listeners. We hope you're doing your part by keeping the torch alive and supporting live music wherever you are. Guys, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.